Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, my name is Moza Daniya Rahma Sari. I'm from Industrial Engineering of Andalas University, and I'm also from Industrial Enterprise Organization and Management Class A. So today in this video, I would like to show you my presentation about Industrial Enterprise Organization and Management in a nutshell. So let's start it. The first thing I want to tell you is why managers are important for an organization. First, organization need their managerial skills and abilities in uncertain, complex, and chaotic times. Second, managers are critical to getting things done in organization. And the last is finally, managers contribute to employee productivity and loyalty. The way employees are managed can affect the organization's financial performance. And managerial ability has been shown to be important in creating organizational value. The next is understanding management's context, constraint, and challenges. The first is contrast the action of managers are according to the omnipotent and symbolic views. According to the omnipotent view, managers are directly responsible for an organization's success or failure. The symbolic view argues that much of an organization's success or failure is due to external forces outside managers' control. The two constraints on managers' direction are the organization cultures, like internal, and the environment, like external. Managers aren't totally constrained by these two factors since they can and do influence their culture and environment. The second is describe the constraint and challenges facing managers into the external environment. The external environment includes those factors and forces outside the organization that affect its performance. The main components include economic, demographic, political, socio-cultural, technological, and global. And also the manager face constraints and challenges from these components because of the impact they have on jobs and employment, environmental uncertainty, and stakeholders' relationship. The third is discuss the characteristic and the importance of organizational culture. And for this part, the 7 dimensions of culture are attention to detail, outcome orientation, people orientation, team orientation, aggressiveness, stability and innovation, and risk-taking. And in organizations with strong cultures, employees are more loyal and performance tends to be higher. And the stronger a culture becomes, the more it affects the way managers plan, organize, lead, and control. And the original source of a culture reflects the vision of organizational founders. And also a culture is maintained by employees, selection practice, and the action of the top managers, and also the socialization process. Also, culture is transmitted into employees through stories, rituals, material symbols, and language. These elements help employees learn what values and behaviors are important as well as who exemplifies those values. The culture affects how manager plans, organize, and also lead and control. The last is describe current issues in organizational culture. The characteristic of an innovative culture are challenge and involvement, freedom, trust, and openness, idea time, playfulness, conflict resolution, debate, and risk-taking. A customer responsive culture has a 5 characteristics. The first is outgoing and friendly employees, jobs with a few rigid rules, procedures, and regulation, empowerment, like clear roles and expectation, and employees who are conscientious in their desire to please the customer. And the workplace spiritually is important because employees are looking for a counterbalance to the stresses and pressure of the turbulent pace of life. And aging baby boomers and other workers are looking for something meaningful in their lives and involvement and connection that they often don't find in a contemporary lifestyles. And to meet the needs that the organized religion is not meeting for some of them. Spiritual organizations tend to have a 5 characteristic. It's like strong strong sense of purpose, focus on individual development, trust and openness, employee and empowerment, and toleration of employees' expression. And next, we in this management, the managerial has to know that how to make a decision, and this is the decision making process. The first thing that managers has to do is identifying the problem. First, a discrepancy between an existing and desired state of affairs. And that's also the characteristic of a problem. Like a problem becomes a problem when a manager becomes aware of it. And there's a pressure to solve the problem. And also the manager must have the authority, information, or resources needed to solve the problem. The second process is identifying decision criteria. Decision criteria are the factors that are important or relevant to the resolving the problem. It's like costs that will incur, risks likely to be encountered, and also outcomes that are desired. The third is allocating weights to the criteria. Decision criteria are not of equal importance. Like it's assigning a weight to each item places the item in the correct priority order of their importance in the decision-making process. The next step is developing alternative. This is like identifying viable alternative. Like the alternatives are listed with the evaluation that can resolve the problem. The next is analyzing the alternative, appraising each alternative strengths and the weaknesses. It's like an alternative appraisal is based on its ability to resolve the issues identified, like the steps 2 and 3 that I mentioned before. And the sixth step is selecting an alternative. It means like choosing the best alternative beyond the alternative that we already have before. It's like the alternative with the highest total weight is chosen. The seventh step is implementing the decision. It's like putting the chosen alternative into an action, like conveying the decision to and gaining commitment from those who will carry out this decision. The last step is evaluating the decision's effectiveness. The soundness of decision is judged by its outcome. How effectively was the problem resolved by outcome resulting from the chosen alternative? And also, if the problem wasn't resolved, what went wrong in that problem? And next is that we study in organizational or in management is purposes of planning. The first is provides direction. The second is reduce uncertainty. The third is minimize waste and redundancy. And the last is sets the standards for controlling. We will discuss it one by one. The first is provide direction. It's like manager provide the direction before do the plans. And the second is reduces uncertainty. The three is minimize waste and redundancy. The last is set the standard for controlling the plan that we made before as a manager. So this is the strategic management process that the manager or the management has to know. The first is identify the organization, current mission, goals, and strategies. And the next is conducting an external analysis. It's like an opportunities and also the threat of our strategy. And internal analysis is the step 3 of our management process. It's more likely discuss about strengths and weaknesses. In internal and external analysis, it's more likely about the SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And after that, after those steps, we move to the fourth step is about formulate strategies. In this strategies, we develop and evaluate strategic alternative. We select appropriate strategies for all levels in the organization that provide relative advantage over the competitors. And also the manager match organizational strength to environmental opportunities. And in this part also, the managers correct weaknesses and guard against threats. And the next step is implement strategies. The implementation means like effectively fitting organizational structure and effective and also the activities to the environment. The environment dictates the chosen strategy. It's like effective strategy implementation requires an organizational structure matched to its requirements. And the last step is like evaluate the results. In this process, the managers is evaluate how effective have strategies been, and if it's already done, like what adjustment and that we need to add, or if any are necessary, there's something like that. So we next to the work specialization. In organizational or management, we know that work specialization is exists, and the work specialization is the degree to which tasks in organization are divided into separate jobs with each step completed by a different person. These are the departmentalization of by the type. These are the departmentalization by type. The first is functional departmentalization. It's like grouping jobs by functions performed. There are the disadvantages and also the advantage of this type. And for the advantages, we know that efficiency from putting together similar specialties and people with common skills, knowledge, and also the orientation. The second is coordination within functional area, and the third is in-depth specialization. And for the disadvantages for this departmentalization is poor communication across functional areas, limited view of the organizational goals. The second type is geographic. It's like grouping jobs on the basis of territory or geography. In this part, the advantages is more effective and efficient handling of specific regional issues that arise and serve needs of unique geographic markets better. And for the disadvantages of this type is duplication of function and also can feel isolated from other organizational areas. And for the next type is product departmentalization. In this departmentalization is the type of grouping jobs by product line. The advantages of this type is allow specialization in particular products and services. The managers can become expert in their industry, and we also getting closer to our customer. And the next type is process. In this type is more likely grouping jobs on the basis of product or our customer flow. The disadvantages for this part is can only be used with a certain type of products. And for the advantages of this type is more efficient flow of work activities. And for the last type is customer. It's grouping jobs by type of customer and needs. The advantages for this type is customer needs and problem can be met by specialized. But the disadvantages for this type is duplication of function, limited view of organizational goals. So if we study about management, we also know about the communication. So what is communication actually? It is first that we know that communication is the transfer and understanding of meaning. It means transfers the message was received in a form that can be interpreted by the receiver. And the understanding means the message is not the same as the receiver agreeing with the message. The second, interpersonal communication. It's like communication between two or more people. And the third is organizational communication. It's like all the patterns, network, and system of the communication within an organization. So here is the function of communication. The first is controlling. The second is formation. The third is motivation. And the last is emotional expression. And also we will describe one by one of each function. The first is control. It's like formal and informal communication act to control individuals' behavior and organization. The second is information. The information is like individuals and work groups need information to make a decision or to do their work. The third is motivation. For motivation, we need like communication. Okay, like communication clarify for employees what is to done, how will they have done it, and what can be done to improve the performance that we did. And the last is emotional expression. It's like social interaction in the form of work group communication and provides a way for employees to express themselves. I think that's all for my presentation. I would like to say thank you to your all of attention for me, and I'm sorry for all of my mistake. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.